I slept with my boyfriend's twin brother, and I liked it. God help me, I liked it too much. That's not how this was supposed to go. I never thought I'd be that woman, the one with secrets too heavy to carry and a smile too perfect to be real. But here I am. If you're listening to this, don't judge me yet. Let me tell you how it happened, and maybe you'll understand. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll just hit that like button and keep scrolling, secretly addicted to the same kind of chaos that tore my world apart. I met Jake Parker in college, clean-cut, soft-spoken, organized to the core. His dorm was always spotless, and he had this warm way of looking at you like you were the only one in the room. He was dependable, the kind of man your mother dreams you'll bring home. And I did. We moved in together 2 years ago, bought a house in the suburbs, just outside Denver. He proposed once, kinda. Said we should talk about the future, and that he could see us going the distance. That was Jake. Never reckless, always safe. And then there was Jason. Jake's twin. I'll never forget the first time I met him. We were at Jake's parents' house for his mom's birthday. I was in the kitchen helping set out appetizers when the back door creaked open and in walked Jake. At least that's what I thought. But this version of him had tattoos running down his forearm, a cocky grin that didn't apologize, and eyes that didn't ask for permission. I froze. My heart didn't just skip, it did a full somersault. "Hey," he said, voice rougher than Jake's, just a little deeper. "You must be Rachel." He stepped closer. No handshake, no polite distance. Just that look, like he'd already undressed me in his mind. I nodded, stumbling over my words. "You must be Jason." "Guilty." He smirked and popped a grape in his mouth, never breaking eye contact. From that moment, I knew I was in trouble. Jake warned me about him once. Said Jason was a bit wild, the black sheep, the kind who never stayed in one place for long. He'd done odd jobs, bartending, working on a fishing boat, even tried to become a tattoo artist. He was the same face, same voice, but a whole different kind of fire. At dinner that night, I tried to ignore him. Sat next to Jake, laughed at his dad's jokes, poured wine for his mom. But every time I looked up, Jason was watching me. Not staring, watching. Like he knew something I didn't. Like he saw the cracks in the perfect little life Jake and I had built. Weeks passed. Jake and I fell back into routine. He had late nights at the office, meal prepping on Sundays, folding laundry with military precision. Sometimes, I'd catch myself thinking about Jason when Jake was inside me, and I hated myself for it. Then came the night of the charity dinner. Jake's parents were hosting some fundraiser in their backyard. White tablecloths, fairy lights, classical music playing too softly to enjoy. I wore a fitted black dress, the kind that clung to me in all the places Jake rarely noticed anymore. And of course, Jason was there. He cleaned up nicely, dark blazer, no tie, a hint of cologne that made me want to lean closer. He didn't say much at dinner, just smirked whenever our eyes met. Later, I slipped into the kitchen to get more wine, needing a break from the noise. He followed. "Nice dress," he said behind me, voice thick and low. "Jake doesn't deserve that view." I turned, cheeks burning. "You shouldn't say that." He stepped closer. I could feel the heat coming off his body. "You think I care what I should say? You're his brother." "And you're his girl," he murmured, brushing a strand of hair behind my ear. "But I see the way you look at me." I should have walked away. I should have slapped him, yelled at him. Something. Anything, but I didn't. I stood there, breathing hard, my lips inches from his. We didn't kiss. Not then. But we could have. We almost did. Jake called my name from the hallway and the spell broke. Jason winked and stepped back, like it was all a game. But it wasn't a game to me. That night, lying beside Jake in bed, I stared at the ceiling, heart racing like I'd committed a crime I hadn't even acted on yet. I could still smell Jason on my skin, feel the ghost of his fingertips near my cheek. I tried to forget it, told myself it was just a moment of weakness. But deep down, something had cracked open. Something wild. Something dangerous. And that was only the beginning. If you think this is messy already, just wait. Like and subscribe for more tangled stories that hit too close to home. Because this isn't just a story about cheating. It's a story about identity. About fire. About the kind of choices that don't let you go. I told myself it would end with that almost kiss. I told myself it didn't mean anything. That I was just flattered, caught up in the danger of it all. A stupid crush on a man who looked like my boyfriend but acted like sin. But lies grow fast when they're fed with desire. It started the next morning, when I woke up before Jake. He was snoring softly beside me, his hand resting on my thigh, and all I could think about was Jason's voice in my ear. Jake doesn't deserve that view. I got up, took a shower, and stood there too long under the hot spray, trying to burn the thought out of me. But it stayed, like a tattoo under my skin. The next week, Jake left for a business trip to Dallas. 3 days, 2 nights. Just long enough for me to be alone with my thoughts. And my cravings. On the second afternoon, Jason showed up. I was in the kitchen, wearing one of Jake's old t-shirts and pajama shorts, scrolling through my phone. The knock was loud, casual. I opened the door without thinking. There he stood, black jeans, leather jacket, hair messier than usual. He leaned against the doorway like it was his own house. "Hey, Rachel." My heart did a stupid leap. "Jason? What are you doing here?" He lifted a 6-pack of beer. "Jake asked me to grab his toolbox from the garage. Said he forgot to fix that broken drawer." Of course he did. I didn't question it. I stepped aside and let him in. "Toolbox is over there," I said, pointing toward the shelves. "You want a soda or something?" He smirked. "You offering me soda when I brought beer?" I laughed nervously and tucked my hair behind my ear. "Right. Stupid." "No," he said, setting the beers on the counter. "Not stupid. Just innocent." He said that word like it offended him. He got the toolbox and turned to leave, but then paused. "You okay?" I blinked. "Why wouldn't I be? You've looked distracted lately. Since the party." I leaned against the counter. "That's funny. I could say the same about you." He took a step forward. Then another. The space between us got smaller. My stomach flipped. "I think about that night more than I should," he said. "Jason, I know. He's my brother. You're with him. This is wrong." He was close now. So close I could smell the smoke on his clothes, the hint of mint gum on his breath. He looked down at me, and I should have stopped him. But I didn't. He reached out slowly, his fingers brushing my cheek, and my knees almost buckled. "You want to tell me you don't feel it too?" he asked, his voice a low rumble. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. Then he kissed me. God, that first kiss was everything. Soft and hungry at the same time. My fingers clutched his jacket, pulling him in before I could even think. It was heat and chaos, and everything Jake had never made me feel in 5 years. We didn't stop at the kiss. We didn't make it to the bedroom either. It happened right there in the hallway, fast, messy, our hands everywhere. He lifted me onto the console table like I weighed nothing. His mouth was on my neck, my thighs, my breasts. My body betrayed me, wanting more, taking more. I moaned his name, once, and he growled in response like he'd been starving. It was over too fast and not fast enough. When it ended, we both stood there, breathing heavy, flushed and shaken. I expected him to say something stupid, to smirk or joke, but he didn't. He looked at me with those stormy eyes and said, "I've wanted you since the moment I saw you." I should have slapped him. Instead, I kissed him again. That night, I couldn't sleep. Jake called me from his hotel. He asked how my day went. I told him it was fine. I asked about his meetings. He said they went well. He told me he missed me. I lied and said I missed him too, even as I sat in bed, my thighs still sore from what Jason and I had done. I stared at my reflection in the dark screen of the TV. My hair was messy, my lips swollen. I looked different. I felt different. The guilt didn't hit me like a hammer. It was slower than that, like water filling a sinking boat. At first, you can still float, but eventually, it drags you down. The next morning, Jason sent me a text. "Can't stop thinking about you." I deleted it, then stared at the blank space like it meant something more than it should. The thing is, it wasn't just lust. Not for him. And now not for me either. Jake came home the next night, all smiles and warm hugs. He brought me flowers from the airport, kissed me like he hadn't kissed me in years, told me he had a surprise planned for the weekend. I smiled back. I played my part. But inside, I was breaking into 2 people. One who wanted to forget that anything ever happened, and the other who kept reliving every second of it. I told myself it would stop, that I'd made a mistake. One time, that I could bury it. But lies, remember? They grow fast when you feed them. And I was already feeding mine more than I realized. Ever been so deep in a lie you forgot the truth? Like and subscribe for more stories that dare to tell the truth behind the silence. Because this one, it's far from over. They say love is simple when it's real. But when it wears two faces that look exactly the same, it's anything but simple. It's a nightmare you can't wake up from. The day after Jake returned, I couldn't look at him the same. Every time he touched me, I saw Jason's hands. Every time he kissed me, I felt Jason's lips. It was like my body was stuck in some sick memory loop, and I couldn't shut it off. But I tried. God, I tried. Jake, in his usual kind, clueless way, was acting like everything was perfect again. He cooked dinner that Friday night. Pasta, garlic bread, a bottle of red wine. He even lit candles, like he was trying to romance me the way he used to in the beginning. "You've been different lately," he said halfway through dinner, casually twirling his fork. "Quieter." My stomach tightened. "Just tired." He gave me a soft smile. "I was thinking maybe we should finally plan that weekend getaway to the cabin. Just the two of us. No work, no distractions." My heart dropped. "No service up there, remember," he added with a wink. "You and I could use some alone time." My throat dried. "Yeah, that sounds good." Lying to Jake got easier every day. That scared me more than anything. That night, after we made love, slow, quiet, too careful, I lay next to him and cried silently into my pillow. Not because he was bad or boring or wrong, but because Jason had ruined me for him. I was already in too deep. And the worst part, I didn't want to crawl out. The next time I saw Jason was 2 days later. Jake was out getting groceries, and I was in the backyard watering my plants. Jason showed up unannounced, leaning on the fence like he'd been waiting for me. He didn't say anything, just watched. I didn't tell him to leave. I should have. Instead, I walked toward him like I was sleepwalking. "What are you doing here?" I asked quietly. He reached out, took the hose from my hand, and turned it off. "I missed you. You shouldn't come here." But I did. He stepped closer. I backed up until I was against the wall of the house, heart thudding in my chest. "I think about you every night," he whispered, brushing a finger down my arm. "Tell me you don't think about me too." "I do," I breathed. "But this is wrong, Jason. So wrong. Then why does it feel better than anything else in our lives?" And just like that, he kissed me again. Slower this time. Deeper. Like he wasn't rushing, like he wanted to make sure I remembered every second. We ended up in the laundry room, of all places. Clothes on the floor, the spin cycle rumbling beneath us like thunder. And still, somehow, I let it happen again. Afterward, he didn't leave right away. He held me. Just held me, like we were more than something dirty and secret. "Are you happy with him?" Jason asked. I thought I was. I whispered. "Do you love him?" That was the question that tore something inside me. Because I didn't know the answer anymore. Jake started noticing small things. The way I stared at nothing too long. The way I flinched when he touched me from behind. The way I changed the topic every time he mentioned Jason. One night, we were watching a movie. I had my legs curled under me on the couch, Jake sitting beside me, his arm around my shoulder. "You and Jason ever get along?" The question came out of nowhere. I froze. "What do you mean?" "You never talk about him," Jake said. "But he talks about you." My skin turned cold. "What does he say?" Jake laughed a little. "Nothing weird. Just that you're funny. Smart. That you're probably too good for me." I forced a smile. "That's Jason." Jake turned to face me. "Do you think I'm boring?" "No." "Do you think I'm enough for you?" His voice was soft. So sincere it hurt. I kissed his cheek. "You're everything to me." Another lie. Another damn lie. And I hated myself for how easily it came out. Jason was different every time we met. Sometimes rough, sometimes tender, sometimes silent, sometimes obsessed. One time, he asked me what I thought our life would be like if Jake didn't exist. "You're not just sex to me," he said. "I want more." "But you're his brother," I snapped. What the hell kind of man does this to his own blood? Jason looked at me, serious. The kind who knows what he wants and isn't afraid to take it. And that terrified me. Because maybe I liked that kind of man. I started pulling away after that. Canceling. Ignoring texts. avoiding family dinners. Until I made the biggest mistake yet. Jake was doing laundry. I was in the kitchen, pretending to read a magazine when I heard him shout from the hallway. "Rachel!" I jumped. "Yeah, what's this doing in our hamper?" I turned the corner and froze. He was holding up Jason's black t-shirt, the one I'd accidentally worn after our last time and stupidly shoved into the laundry basket. Jake looked confused. Not angry. Not yet. "I haven't seen him wear this in months," he said slowly. "Why would it be here?" My mouth went dry. I don't know. Maybe he stopped by and left it. Jake frowned. "When?" "I didn't see him." I shrugged. "You were probably out." There was silence. Heavy. Thick with suspicion. He studied my face like he was seeing me for the first time. And then, just like that, he dropped the shirt into the basket and walked away. But I knew that moment changed everything. Later that night, I watched him sleep. His face relaxed, his breathing steady. He still trusted me. For now. But something in him had shifted. Something in me had snapped. I couldn't keep lying to both of them. But the truth? The truth would burn everything to the ground. Ever been so deep in a lie, you forgot the truth? Subscribe and like for more stories that unravel the lives we hide behind. Because the next chapter? That's where the fire really starts. The night after Jake found Jason's shirt in the laundry, I stood in the bathroom staring at myself in the mirror for nearly an hour. Not checking my makeup, not brushing my hair, just looking, trying to figure out who the hell I was anymore. My reflection used to feel familiar. It used to be a woman who had her life in order, who had a loving boyfriend, a stable home, and a future worth building. But now, she looked like a stranger. Eyes clouded with lies, skin flushed with guilt, and behind that gloss, desire, still burning, still shameful. The truth was crawling closer. I could feel it in the air, like a thunderstorm coming. Jake wasn't stupid. His eyes had changed. No more soft, sleepy glances. He was watching me now, closely, silently connecting dots. And Jason was no longer hiding what he wanted. 3 days later, it all came to a head. Jake invited Jason over for dinner. He didn't tell me until 20 minutes before he arrived. I was chopping vegetables, trying not to fall apart, when Jake casually said, "Figured it'd be nice to have Jason join us. It's been a while." My heart dropped to my stomach. "Oh," I said, trying not to tremble. "Yeah, sure." Jake turned to me, meeting my eyes with a sharpness I'd never seen before. "He is your favorite Parker, isn't he?" I froze, knife still in hand. What's that supposed to mean? But he just smiled and kissed my cheek. Nothing. Jason showed up exactly on time. Of course he did. He looked at me the second he walked in, and I knew he felt it too, the storm. The trap. We all sat at the table. Ate the damn pasta I made. Talked about weather, sports, whatever the hell people talk about when nobody wants to say what they're really thinking. It was a long, awful meal. And then Jake dropped the bomb. "So," he said casually, wiping his mouth with a napkin. "Jason, you've been spending a lot of time around the house lately." Jason froze. "Have I?" Jake tilted his head. "Yeah. Apparently even when I'm not home." Silence. My fork slipped from my fingers and clanged on the plate. "Jake!" "No, go on," Jake said, voice flat. "Tell me I'm imagining things. Tell me that shirt in the hamper was just a coincidence. Tell me why my girlfriend smells like my brother some nights." Jason shifted, jaw clenched. And I couldn't speak. Because the moment was here. The fall. The end. Jake stood up slowly, looking at both of us like we'd stabbed him. "How long?" I swallowed hard. "Jake, please." "How long, Rachel?" My voice cracked. "I don't know." "You don't know," he shouted. "You don't know how long you've been screwing my twin brother behind my back?" Jason stood too. "Jake! Don't!" Jake pointed at him, eyes blazing. "Don't you dare speak." The room spun. I felt like I might throw up. "I trusted you," Jake said, looking at me. "I loved you. I didn't plan this," I whispered. He laughed bitterly. "Oh, thank God. That makes it better. You just accidentally fell on his dick, huh?" Jason stepped forward. "She loves me." "Shut up," I snapped. Jake turned. "Is that true?" I don't know," I whispered. I don't know what I feel anymore. He shook his head, broken. Wow. You don't even know if you love me. Or him. You're just standing in between us like we're two toys you can't decide between. That's not fair. Fair. His voice cracked. You don't get to say that word. Jason grabbed his jacket. I'm not sorry for falling for her. Jake lunged. Fists. Shouting. I screamed and stepped between them. The coffee table shattered. A lamp fell. Jason backed off, blood at the corner of his mouth, smiling like he deserved the hit. I'm done, Jake said, breathing hard. With both of you. He left that night. Packed a bag, got into his car, and drove off into the dark. Didn't say goodbye. Just gone. The house felt like a grave after that. Quiet. Cold. The scent of betrayal, still clinging to the walls. Jason stayed behind for a few hours. Tried to hold me. I pushed him away. I didn't want this, I said. He looked at me like I'd slapped him. You think I did? You said you loved me. I do. Then why does this feel like death? He didn't answer. And I knew. We weren't a love story. We were a disaster. A car crash that just kept happening in slow motion. A week passed. Then another. Jake didn't call. Jason did, but I didn't answer. I stayed in the house with the ghosts. Cooked dinner for no one. Slept on the couch. Cried in the shower. Looked in the mirror, and still didn't know who the hell I was anymore. Was it love? Was it lust? Was it rebellion against the safe, predictable life I thought I wanted? I didn't have the answers. Maybe I never would. But I did know this. I destroyed something good. And for what? A man who looked the same, but never could be. One rainy night, I drove to the lake an hour outside town. Just sat in the car, watching the storm rip through the trees. That's where Jake had once taken me on our anniversary. That's where he first told me he loved me. And now all I could do was cry in the front seat of my own guilt. Love is never supposed to make you question your soul. But this love, if that's even what it was, had fractured me. People like happy endings. Need bows. Closure. But I won't lie to you. There's no perfect ending here. No romantic reunion. No movie scene. Jake never came back. Jason moved out of state. And me. I stayed in the house for a while. Lived with the consequences. Lived with myself. That was punishment enough. I see them both sometimes. In strangers. On TV. In dreams. Two faces. One memory. And sometimes I still don't know which one I loved. But I do know this. I was never the same after them. And maybe that's the most honest part of all. If this story shook something in you, if you've ever stood at the edge of desire and identity, love and betrayal, like and subscribe for more raw, untold stories that peel back the surface and show you what's underneath. Because not all stories are about right and wrong. Some are just about the truth we hide from everyone, including ourselves.